Europe, once the heart of civilization, the continent that gave us the best philosophers, thinkers, architectures, even democracy. We gave it the Renaissance, Enlightenment, and we're a good civilization. We thrive. Europe now is in complete decay. Just in 2 or 3 decades, everything that made Europe Europe has been in full decay. Christianity, the root of our civilization, being replaced with Islam. Look at France, they're building more mosques now than they're building churches. In the UK, in London alone, there are 85 Sharia laws. And look at Germany, you'll find more kebab businesses than just a traditional bakery. This is not a cultural blend, this is cultural replacement, and it's leading to the decay of Europe. It seems like we have forgotten who we are. We have opened our borders and welcomed mass migration. We have surrendered our sovereignty to the technocrats and the bureaucrats in Brussels, and we have forgotten our heritage and our culture. But there's one place that still remembers who it is, who puts God on top of his government, who doesn't kneel for Brussels, remains sovereign, and remembers who it is, and that is Hungary. Now, while Europe might seem lost, there's one place where common sense is still prevailing, and that is at CPAC, Hungary. This is why we went all the way there to do our own little investigation. How can we reclaim what we have lost?
Everybody has to keep in mind that we have to think about our family first, then our village, then our city, then our country, and then Europe. Our priority is what surrounds us. If everybody take care of our of what's around us, it's the most important.
Deport every illegal immigrant who's criminal. Just deport them. That's the only way. They came by plane, they came by bus, put them in the plane, bring them back. That's it.
We have to give freedom to our entrepreneurs because those are the people who are really making sure that our economy is thriving. And the last couple of years, the bureaucracy in our country and in Europe as a whole went fully the other way. And I think that's the most important part. We have to stop putting all those rules on our entrepreneurs and giving them the freedom to really innovate during this very important age of innovation.
It's all about pushing the message out there, getting publicity, getting the public on board, because if the public understands what's truly going on, then it will start to affect election results.
The main question is, do we need a Doge? I don't think we need especially a Doge. I think what we need is really a political change, because if the Patriots come to power in Europe, in France, in any country, the thing is that they won't be the friends of the liberals, of the progressists, of the globalists who were there during 30, 40 years. It will be new people who will rule it, who will just manage to create new jobs. And those will be opportunities also for true patriots who will be able to come to power, to find jobs, and to be really efficient in defending Europe, their countries. So the problem is not deleting the funds, the problem is changing the politics who are at power.
I think the number one thing is that you never give up.
Well, Hungary is a very strong nation fighting for its sovereignty. And this is what we should do in all the nation states. Of course, we can cooperate and work together within the European Union. But that doesn't mean that we have to give up our sovereignty to the bureaucrats in Brussels. So the fight for sovereignty, for a sovereign nation state, that's the most important thing to do, because that is who we are. That's our identity, and it should not be taken over by the Brussels bureaucrats.
Now, the overall theme of this CPAC is the age of patriotism. So I started with the question, what does it mean to be a patriot?
I think for me, to be a patriot is, first of all, to love your country and to make it your priority in your life, in everything you do. Your country is your priority, and also the people you live with.
Patriotism is the most important value for everybody who loves freedom, who wants the world to be free, and for the European who wants the Europe to be great again.
Supporting the families and defending our borders.
As we mentioned, Europe is such a great continent, but it has been destroyed, particularly by the globalists and the Euro-federalists. Open borders, woke ideology, net zero policies that are destroying the economy.
For thousands and thousands of years, it was, biology was kind of established. We had men and women, and now suddenly we have, fantasies, right? And I think it is because, the left and especially also the socialists, they really try to undermine everything that is tradition. They want to destroy everything because everything traditional, beautiful architecture, as here in Budapest, they hate it. They don't like it. Everything has to be new. And of course, they also have to separate the different gender roles. They need to have gender ideology to also dismantle that.
And it goes even further than that, because the idea that we still have a democracy is turning more and more into illusion if you look at the freedoms that we are losing in a rapid pace. A couple of months ago, the MCC Brussels came out with a report talking about how the European Commission is funneling in billions into NGOs, non-governmental organizations, to function as a propaganda by proxy.
Always these NGOs have an ideological agenda. They are being usually funded by the Commission with millions of euros, by Soros network. So this is not going to be objective. They are going to be biased. And this is how our freedoms go away.
So NGO financing from abroad is a very big problem here in Hungary because a lot of NGOs, also media outlets, receive foreign funds. And one of the main sources of money is Soros, George Soros, who is a Hungarian-American philanthropist. And what we have seen with the Center for Fundamental Rights, because we have tracked down all of his payments during the last few years to Europe and also Hungary. And what we have seen is that in the last 7 years, he paid $90 million only to Hungary and in the nearby countries to influence here the society. What he does, what George Soros and all of these NGOs do is actually a political work. They're political activists, and what they try to do is actually influence all the voters. And what we have seen is also interesting, that before elections in Hungary, before every election year, these funds grow even more. So before an election year, the funds are higher than in the previous years. And it also, I think, says what the aim of these dollars are.
In Germany, they're called NGOs, non-governmental, but they are fully governmental supported. They get lots of money, millions and billions of dollars. Euros go into these structures where NGOs fight for the rights of asylum seekers, let's say, or for illegal migration. They go outside on the sea, in the Mediterranean Sea, catch people on the sea and bring them to Germany.
Wait, they go to the sea to bring people to Germany?
Basically, yes. They ship them over to Italy, bring them then in different either trains or buses, and they go straight to Germany to seek for asylum, get all the welfare, which is very high, on a high level in Germany. That's why all the asylum seekers end up in Germany, and this is with the big help of these so-called NGOs.
But it goes beyond that. As it turns out, in both Hungary and in Poland, NGOs that have been paid both by Soros and the European Commission have tried to overrule their governments. And in Hungary, this is very visible. They actually proposed a ban on foreign-funded NGOs. And now, while we are doing our research, we run into people protesting, saying this is a censorship law, saying that only the European Union can save their democracy.
There is a new law by the Hungarian government, and it is against the Hungarian civil organizations and against the Hungarian free press. So that is why we are protesting today.
Is this a sort of like a censorship law?
It kind of, yes, yeah. Actually, not kind of. It is totally a censorship right now. It's the task of the Hungarian people. So we need to be stronger and stand up for our rights. But of course, we need the support of the European Union, of course.
Europe is not lost, not yet. But the hour is late. For too long, we have watched in silence as everything that once made this continent the cradle of civilization was dismantled before our eyes. We let faceless elites in Brussels dictate our lives. We were told to erase our borders, forget our faith, and apologize for our past. We traded truth for tolerance and freedom for control, God for government. But there is a new dawn, and it carries a clear message. It is that the age of patriotism has arrived. Being here in Hungary, talking to patriots and conservatives worldwide, we are witnessing that there is a strong shift. Like Alice Weidel said in her speech, the leader of AfD, they are fearing us. And with they, she refers to the globalists. But if we want to make Europe great again, and we have addressed all of the issues, from mass migration to the decay of civilization, to the decay of our faith and heritage, and the growing power of Brussels, one thing that we need to remember is that if we want to fight the globalists, we have to fight like them, which is united.
I think that we have to learn from Argentina is that we have to fight against the communism, the leftists, without doubt, without complex. We have to fight, as Trump said, because it's a difficult war with less resources, with less people, but we have the most valuable things, like the truth and the ideas, that they are the ideas of the progress, of the capitalism. So we have to work a lot in Europe because we have leaders like Meloni, like Orban, that they are doing good things, but suddenly in Spain we have communism and government that are going against us. They're trying to share up the periodists, they're attacking all the time.
If we focus too much on our own issues, it will be very hard to form those collaborations which are needed to push back against the agenda of the globalist. But as we said, there is hope. We are at the dawn of patriotism, and Europe will be great again.